The museum just started off as a very bizarre type thing, actually, I'll be honest with you. I always had this thing where I always used to take a souvenir from a case. And it would just be, something the family would offer me or something, or was it a haunted item or something that could have been haunted? And over the years, I would just pile them up in boxes and just kept throwing them in the barn behind the house. And a few years back, I said, I have to make a decision on what I'm going to do with all these things. And I said, I want to do a paranormal museum, but I wanted to do something different. So what I started actually doing was trying to pick different items from different cases to be able to tell the story. But I wanted to take it a step farther. I wanted it to integrate different belief systems, religions, and cultures. I thought that was very important to be able to tell those stories and be able to incorporate it so that a person can understand these things, that there isn't just one culture, one belief system that these things occur. It's worldwide, and it affects everybody, and it has for thousands and thousands of years. So that was my main intent and purpose of doing that with the items. And today I use it more as a teaching tool to explain to different people how these things occur, how people do things. Did they open up the doors? Were they innocent? Did they fall victim to a haunted item? Okay, that's the boys here in the Paranormal Museum. A woman had picked them up from a consignment shop and had brought them home and started having a lot of different type of activity take place in her house. And they really scared the heck out of her. They are a collector series. But due to the fact that they were causing mischievous things to occur with her and within her home, she no longer wanted the boys part of her collection. Simon here belonged to a little child, and the child kept claiming that the spirit was communicating back and forth with him. Finally, what convinced the mother that Simon did have something with it, the child was sitting across the room, and this was on the other side, and she seen the mouth going up and down. Well, at that point, the mother got so panic-stricken, she actually picked up this ventriloquist and actually threw it outside. Young lady had picked up this statue of an Indian, and she had brought it home, put it up on her dresser, and she started experiencing all kinds of activity. She insisted that she heard drums, she was hearing different voices. Well, at that point in time, I recommended to her that she remove the item from the house that she had brought in, and she agreed. She called me back the following morning, and she was scratched, she was bit, she was tormented throughout the evening. Got involved with the case. She ended up needing an exorcism performed over her, and the house also needed to be cleared. So always tell people, be very careful on some of the things you pick up and you bring into your home, because you never know what's going to happen. Mr. Bojo here was made and designed. These are what we refer to as poppet dolls, and come from the 20s and the 30s. People would create these, make these, put things inside them, and give them to people as gifts. They were basically made to represent voodoo dolls. Here again, I always tell people, be very careful. It was a very innocent thing when these items get picked up, but once they enter your life, you never know what doors can actually be opened, and these things could start to wreak havoc within your life. This wedding dress was picked up off of one of those types of sites that sell a lot of different things, and it was alleged that the dress was haunted. It came from a woman that was strangled the day of her wedding, and they found the body later on afterwards. Well, they had taken the wedding dress and put it up in the attic and left it there for many years, and finally they decided they were going to sell it. So a young lady had picked it up, and she bought it, brought it home, and didn't think too much of it, and had brought it down. And we have a young lady that does psychometry, which is the reading of items. She had no knowledge, no prior knowledge whatsoever about the wedding gown. She put it in her arms, and she was holding it, and within a few moments she started feeling her neck and going around her neck, and she felt like she was being strangled, and threw the wedding gown right down onto the floor. That was enough that night for all of us to be convinced that this dress did come from an actual type of situation, and the spirit was attracted to the wedding gown. Get involved with an investigation where this jewelry box and this jewelry came from. Well, this gentleman went out with this young lady for a very long time, and she was very heavy into practicing occult things. And he had promised her that he would marry her and he would wait for her. Well, they broke up, moved on with their lives, and he ended up getting married. Well, the night of his honeymoon, all kinds of crazy activity started breaking out. Called us in to do our investigation. And this is a lot of the jewelry and the jewelry box that she had given him. An exorcism had to be performed, the house had to be cleared, so that this gentleman could move on with his life. And today, all those items remain here in the Paranormal Museum. This old pump organ here was picked up by a gentleman that restored them. Well, he had received it. He went out one night after dinner to go work on one of the other projects. He opened up the door to his workshop and he looked over at this organ and seen a beautiful blonde woman with a long white gown on standing right near it. I tried to explain to him that I didn't think that was anything to be scared of or to be anything afraid of, but he was so petrified of seeing that spirit near this organ, he wanted nothing to do with it at all. He said, if all possible, he said, please come over here and remove it from my workshop because I won't even go in there. Today, the organ's been here in the museum. Have I ever seen that gorgeous blonde with the long white gown on? Not to this day.